Welcome back to The Vocalist. Today we are listening to Muse. Now, I don't really know their music. I recognize the song I have chosen is not one of their more popular pieces, but I'm really excited for this one because I was in the car, had music on in the background. I really wasn't paying attention to what I was hearing until a very familiar melody started playing. So we're going to talk about that and we're going to break down some vocals today. Here we go. Okay, just listening to this opening section again, knowing what's to come, I can't get over how brilliant this song is. Let's go back. The piano in this piece is so captivating. It's so stunning, and again, the sort of some of the themes that we're hearing in the keys will return later in that other melody that I mentioned. So we're gonna go, yes, back to the beginning. Sorry, I'm just so distracted because when I first heard this, like I said, I wasn't paying attention, and if I had known what was coming then, I think I would have just been that much more mindful of everything they did to set up this transition into that melody. And so I'm flabbergasted at how good this is and just how brilliant the writing is for this song. But yes, we're going to talk about some singing now. No, we're not. That opening line, it's got this great groove to it. I'm realizing now I didn't even mention like the melody that is to come. So it's from a very famous opera aria. So and I mean, it's in the title, like it has the plus and then the aria title, but yeah, I could have never predicted that this would transition into that with this opening, I don't know, this really groovy opening, like pulsing in the keys. There, that little piano section, I'm gonna play that back just so you can kind of tune into that, so that when the aria starts you can sort of see the parallels. When these pillars get pulled down. Now, diction was probably the first thing that stood out to me. It's so crystal clear. I love when I understand text and I don't have to look up the words. On top of that, he's starting with a very sort of nonchalant, relaxed tone. So it matches that really groovy feel we got at the beginning of this song. Let me get back to his entrance.
When these pillars get pulled down, it will be you who wears the crown, and I'll owe everything to you.
It almost sounds like he sort of changes the vowels on that ascending line. So it's not just this straight sort of ooh or ah sound. It kind of like has this warble effect to it.
How much pain has cracked your soul? How much love would make you whole? You're my guiding lightning strike. I can't find the words to say, and they're overdue. I've traveled half the world to say I belong to you.
He has this gorgeous full tone, but it has this focus to it. So I love the way he's phrasing. I mean, all of these lines. I just think there is such. It's just that gorgeous legato line over top of this pulsing, this groove in the accompaniment, and I think it's just they work together, but they're separate enough to where you can kind of focus on one or the other. Let me go back.
I've traveled half the world to say.
Like half a world to say. I feel like he's really using a lot of gorgeous space to create those words instead of keeping them really contained and really focused. Sorry. The sound is focused, but he is not closing off and creating, a smaller space with his mouth to create that focus.
I belong to you. Then she attacks me like a Leo.
Let me get that again. I know, I'm sorry. This is gonna take forever today. We're not even 2 minutes in. Whenever you have these big ascending lines, it's so easy for a higher note to become louder and to be pulled out of the overall melodic line. But it seems so smooth when he's going into that higher note. Okay. When he had those ending O sounds, and it sounded like there was a lot of force, a lot of air pressure leading up to those, and so we got this really cool vibrato rate when he got to those O vowels. But then this latter part, I feel like we had all of that power, all of that setup from before, and then he backed off. He backed off the tension, so it had more air in the sound, and it was so warm. Let me see if I can find where that happened. Sorry, I don't know what buttons I'm pushing. When he says to say, I'm confused. It got really light.
I can't find the words to say when
It did happen on 2. I'm sorry. One more time.
that's real. I can't find the words to say when I'm confused. I travel half the world to say you are my
Oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. I have so many goosebumps. This is easily one of my favorite opera arias, I think, ever. It's such a gorgeous melody. And it's a little... it's from Samson and Delilah. So if you know the story, it's... I don't know. It always fascinates me when some certain characters in various operas, you know, you don't necessarily, I don't know whether they're good or bad, you can make up your own mind, but sometimes you just don't expect them to get some of the most beautiful arias ever. But in this case, I can't say enough about the pianist. Actually, let me look up. Okay, so the first thing I found was on Reddit. So according to that thread, Matt Bellamy, who does lead vocals, is also playing piano. Please let me know if that is accurate. Whoever's doing it is doing a beautiful job. The melody itself, like, I think this is such a beautiful example of honoring different genres, but making them your own. And I wish we saw that so much more in contemporary music, because there are some incredible melodies that have already been written, and yes, there is a time and a place for them to be seen in context, you know, in their original form. But I also think in order to keep certain melodies and certain stories and just certain composers or writers, you know, keep them relevant, we have to start incorporating them in different ways, in different genres, and I love this so much. Let me go back. I'll try and get the opening of this section. Oh, that was it. Ooh, that was the other thing I was gonna... So it was giving me a little bit of like Queen vibes, just when they really embraced sort of the rock aspect or the possibilities that are in this particular aria. Ooh, still not far enough back. his phrasing is gorgeous. It is so beautiful. And again, I feel that he is doing so much good to honor the best parts of this aria and yet making it his own. Some of the vowel modifications we're hearing just give us a little bit more edge and a little bit more bite to the sound instead of like the really warm tones you would expect. I just want to hear it again. I don't know. I don't remember if this repeats. I love that he switched back to the English and that, oh golly, that you, let me play that again. His tone, I love this so much because I think the character of his voice, the tone of his voice is different enough. And I've said this before, like, obviously I love covering songs. I love, trying to imitate and emulate other artists, but sometimes the cover songs that work the best are the ones where there is enough difference to set apart, what you hear and remember of the original versus like the newer version or a different version. And this is such a beautiful example of that because I think had he tried to sing more in a classical style, I don't know, it might have still worked, but there's just something so interesting about his vocal texture and his phrasing and his pronunciation that just, I don't know, it gives you other things to focus on instead of, it gives you something to like enjoy and latch onto instead of something being too similar to where you just want to compare it. And so I think that's oftentimes why certain covers work better than others. Here we go.
To you.
There's a tiny shift in his vocals where I feel like he takes advantage of a little bit more forward placement with this theme compared to the aria theme. We were getting slightly, obviously, he was singing in a different language, so that was affecting placement, but I think pulling things just a little bit further forward also helps with this piece because it gives us those distinct qualities in these sections. They're almost like sighs, half a world. It's like this little whimper that gets inserted. It's brilliant. It is so brilliant. I also love the falsetto we got at the end, and then also he incorporated that earlier in the piece. It's just so beautiful, and it matches, that sort of chest voice sound so beautifully. Just for educational purposes, I'm going to pull up a clip of the aria so that if you haven't heard it, you can hear a little snippet of it. Let's see. We might have to fast forward. We'll see what happens. Obviously, it's a gorgeous melody, but I think one of the reasons I've always loved that aria in particular is the restraint. It's almost as if, you're just sort of suspended in time, and the orchestra complements what, the singer is doing, but there's so much stillness, and I feel like the singer gets to take their time with the words and with the melody, and just it's so luxurious. And so I love that they incorporated that aspect into their song. Muse did. I feel that they really honored that in their cover or their version when they incorporated this melody. And yes, we got that sort of rock transition, which was equally thrilling, but there were moments where I just felt, I don't know, like time stood still, and it was beautiful. I know I say this all the time when it comes to cover songs, but I'm so impressed when artists really think outside the box. I don't know, their songwriting process, but I imagine someone in Muse heard this aria and thought, wow, I want to use that. And they found such an interesting way of doing that while still creating this. I mean, again, they could have been two very distinct songs and both were great, but the way they molded the two together, I think, is just brilliant. And like I said, I was sort of mindlessly listening when this song first came on, and it wasn't until I heard that melody that I knew that I really started like zoning in and saying, oh, I looked up. I was like, who is singing this? I have to know. And so if more artists did that sort of thing, then, it challenges musicians, it challenges listeners to really get outside their comfort zone and recognize that while we all have preferences and tastes and, things that we sort of gravitate towards, I don't know. I love that because they used something that I knew, it just opened up a completely new world for me, and it was really special when I heard that, which is why I started with this. Now, obviously, after doing this deep dive, I'm incredibly excited to hear more from them. I would love especially to see a live performance. So if you have a specific recommendation for a live performance, please let me know. But yes, that is it for today. So thank you guys so much for listening with me, and hopefully I will see you next time.